Tonight, we are NXT. Thank you, NXT, for never failing to disappoint when it comes to these takeover events. We are definitely NXT. What's up, everybody? DJ Cass back right here on PWFEmpire.com, bringing you my exclusive NXT Takeover Chicago review. Now, for a lot of people, this is probably the first time they've watched NXT in quite a while. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably went into this show green. Maybe you're like me that probably sticked around and watched the week-to-week NXT shows. I mean, you don't really necessarily need to watch it, but it's always good to like familiarize yourself with the current roster in NXT because each division is always changing, and that's definitely what this show did for me tonight. So let's go ahead and get into NXT TakeOver Chicago. We kicked off NXT TakeOver tonight with the leader of Sanity, Eric Young, EY, taking on Roderick Strong, the former Mr. ROH, or at least I like to call him now Mr. NXT. They need to get that in the tagline. But yeah, this match was actually very, very solid. I don't know what it is about Eric Young and Sanity, but for them, they just seem like so directionless right now in NXT. And plus, when I talked about this match in my preview, this match was pretty much just a rehash of what was left from the Ty Dillinger situation. But I did like during the match that they kind of brought up some points on how this is a situation that Roderick Strong's been dealing with even before the Ty Dillinger stuff kind of happened. So they got a little bit of continuity right there. But yeah, match was very good, hard-hitting. The crowd popped like hell for Roderick Strong. And Eric Young, I think, got a bit of a pop too. That just shows you the testament to what the Chicago environment really can bring to an NXT takeover or a WWE event in general. I will say, though, I did not like the fact that Sandy kept getting involved because it's the typical WWE or NXT type of stuff, like where if you're in a group, the two people are out at ringside, they try to get involved, and it's like they gotta like the babyface has to conquer the combatants on the outside. And it's like they did the same thing. Like this match was pretty much a carbon copy from the match that Eric Young had in San Antonio with Ty Dillinger, but only this result actually made sense. Roderick Strong did get the win. That made a lot of sense because, again, like I said, Sanity is very directionless right now in NXT, and I'm honestly getting real tired of this act. It's not like they're bad, but it's just like when you have nothing to fight for, like they're not even going for the NXT tag team titles. But yeah, Roderick Strong definitely needed to get the win here because they really needed to pay off those vignettes, those fantastic, beautiful vignettes featuring Roderick Strong's backstory. Because he was just one of those guys in NXT when Roderick Strong debuted back 7 months ago, was the fact that you knew he was good, but he just didn't have much of a character. But with what they aired in the last 2 weeks of NXT with those vignettes, made me care about Roderick Strong even more. So yeah. But yeah, good decision to give Roderick Strong the win. He needed it. And yes, I really hope that this feud does not continue because I really don't want to see another like babyface versus like heel group faction in NXT. They really need to do something different. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate for the United Kingdom Championship of the World, with good old JR Jim Ross, who was back tonight, calling the action along with Nigel McGuinness. Those two actually made a very good team in my opinion, but you can kind of tell that JR's lost a bit of a step on commentary, but hey, I mean, he's still one of the best commentators. Not one of the best, he is the best commentator in sports entertainment, but holy fucking crap, this match was just so freaking amazing. Now, people, I've had very little time to look at Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Like, I really did just get a glimpse of them when I watched the UK special, and I really love Pete Dunne. Like, the match that Pete Dunne actually had with Mark Andrews on an episode of NXT, that was what I really liked him. But tonight, the performance that he and Tyler Bate showcased to the world really proves that British wrestling is definitely the most technical, the most fanatic, brawling, physical style I have ever seen. People, I actually have seen American style Greco-Roman wrestling. I've seen Japanese strong style wrestling. This is my first time seeing British wrestling, and what these two men were able to pull off in the center of the ring tonight. Holy motherfucking crap. Like, there were just so many near falls. Definitely a lot of stiff forearm shots. And what I really liked about in this match was the story. Like, Nigel McGuinness and JR definitely did a good job of, like, these are two young men. Pete Dunne, 23 years old. Tyler Bate, who won the championship when he was 19, just turned 20. These guys are babies in wrestling terms. So these guys are only going to get better and better and better as the future rolls on, especially with this now new UK show that's going to be launching on the network. I believe they said July was going to be. And again, this match was very hard hitting. We got a fight forever chant. I mean, we got a this is awesome chant. And I was really wondering, like, how is the Chicago crowd going to take these two, considering this is literally the biggest stage that Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne had ever performed on. And they went out there and they just had a mother freaking classic. And again, I'm very new to Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and I actually like Tyler Bate. I really like the style of British wrestling. It's very technical, very technically sound. Like, and you really, but let me tell you something here. There were some dives. Yeah, we had a lot of dives, but yes, again, this match was just amazing. Like, there's really a lot more I could say, but it's just amazing. And the sequences in the near falls was like a reverse light power bomb for Pete Dunne. I thought that was the end of the match, and then like Pete Dunne went to the outside and hit like a reverse lifting suplex onto the apron to Tyler Bate, and Tyler Bate with his agile self, like using his body, launching himself off the top rope and turning around and hit Pete Dunne with the forearm. Like, this truly was a beautiful match to watch. And in the end, Pete Dunne with the win. I strongly thought they were going to go with Tyler Bate, but this was a situation where I was going in with a fresh mind. I was fine with either Bate or Pete Dunne, but Pete Dunne was, from what I saw, one of the most creative characters that came out of the UK Championship tourney. And with this new UK Championship show that's going to be coming up soon, I think it is good for somebody like a Pete Dunne, who actually has more of a character. No disrespect to Tyler Bate, but it's just like, Tyler Bate's reign really wasn't anything to write home about, and a lot of it wasn't his fault. They just didn't showcase him properly. But with Pete Dunne, and after seeing what he can do, and what I like about him is he doesn't allow his character to be dumb. He actually utilizes the rules. He actually uses everything to his advantage. So yes, Pete Dunne, your new UK champion. Again, this was just a phenomenal match, and I'm actually going to be taking more shine and look into this UK British wrestling. So definitely hear more from my end sooner or later. But yeah, fantastic match. Oh, and real quick before I get off of this, shout out to Tyler Bate for pulling out the fucking spiral tap. AJ Styles is so proud of him right now, I guarantee it. Now, let's move on to our second of 4 championship matches here tonight at Takeover, and this was the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion, Asuka, taking on Ruby Riot and Sandy's Nikki Cross. This match was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because I was so scared, because honestly, with what we just saw with the UK Championship match, you gotta wonder what in the world is gonna follow this. And while they didn't really follow it, but the match overall was still very good. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of sick of NXT throwing out these multi-women matches, because I really appreciated the way that they would build one-on-one feuds. And honestly, like I said, going into Chicago, I really did feel like the natural story was Asuka versus Nikki Cross, even though I still think that Ruby Riott didn't deserve a women's championship match opportunity, but I think they wanted to test the waters out with her, and boy, she surpassed my expectations. There were a few botches in this match, but hey, these are women that are really, besides Asuka and Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott, she's fairly new, so I'm not shocked that she didn't win the championship. And of course, what I'm meaning is Asuka retained the NXT Women's Championship. Who the fuck is gonna beat Asuka? Seriously. And honestly, if Ember Moon hadn't gotten hurt the way she did, I honestly think if this was a Fatal 4-Way match, I think the story would have been Ember Moon pinning either Ruby or Nikki Cross to win the championship, and then going into Brooklyn to see if Ember Moon can really take out Asuka when Asuka never lost the championship. But yeah, keeping the belt on Asuka is definitely a good thing, because with Ember Moon probably going to get the next title shot in Brooklyn. This definitely gives a chance to like really build Ember Moon up. But yeah, I'm not taking anything away from Nikki Cross. Like, by the way, Dean Ambrose, Nikki Cross plays the lunatic French character a hell of a lot better than you do, pal, because she actually does everything lunacy and everything that she hits, the way she walks, the way her character is, like, she stays in character the entire time. She's not funny. She doesn't try to do jokes. Like, she's just all around a crazy bitch. And Ruby Riot, like I said, I'm liking her as I've seen her since she debuted in a random episode of NXT and then had her match in Orlando. So yeah, the NXT Women's Division right now, I'd say it's pretty solid. I mean, like you said, even though Asuka pinned both Ruby Riot and Nikki Cross, which is pretty amazing, you still have Ruby Riot to go back to. You still have Nikki Cross. You can still tell that story. You still got Ember Moon and Billie Kay, Peyton Royce. I'm not counting Liv Morgan and Aaliyah. So there's still some women in NXT right now that can still carry the division. But yeah, keeping the championship on Asuka was definitely a good decision. And hopefully with Ember Moon getting healthy, we can get back to a one-on-one scenario with Ember Moon and Asuka. Title match number 3 of 4 championship matches at Takeover was the NXT Championship match, which I truly thought was going to be the main event. The champion, Bobby Roode, taking on the former Kenta in Hideo Itami. Now, Hideo Itami is just coming back from another injury. He's had some setbacks. He got hurt from the first injury when he actually was supposed to be part of a triple threat match at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, which we will never know who the hell attacked Hideo Itami in the first place. My theory is Finn Balor, but that's another story for another day. And this match right here, it wasn't bad, but you can definitely tell the crowd really wasn't as into this match as they were for the UK Championship match, and I'll even say the Triple Threat Women's match, because they were in that match a lot more than this one. And I think it just goes back to them just like the clashing of styles, because while Bobby Roode, he's got a good entrance, he is a good heel in NXT, but it's like when the bell rings and the match starts, it's like he has that slow, methodical Triple H type match atmosphere that just doesn't match well with the strong style offense that Hitomi just brings. Like, I'll even bring up an example. Like, I really wasn't a big fan of Roode and Nakamura, both the matches as itself, even though a lot of people I thought really liked that match. But yeah, this was just a clash of styles. But again, the match really wasn't that bad. It was just like very slow paced, and maybe too slow for the matches that we had just seen, because most of the matches were fast-paced. But yeah, Hideo Itami finally hit the GTS, but then Roode rolls out of the ring. I expected that to happen, to be honest with you. And I did like the story that was told in this match. The fact that both guys were hurt, but they were working each other's injuries, like Roode with the arm and Hideo Itami with his ankle. You rarely see that in wrestling today, like because how many times have we seen Shinsuke Nakamura? I love the dude, but it's like they'll work on his knee or his arm, but yeah, he'll play it off like it never happened. So it's kind of good to see that they went back to that scenario. And honestly, the way this match went, I'm very happy that it wasn't the main event. This was actually a good call by them, because Hideo Itami, I said in our preview, just hasn't been built up enough for him to be carrying NXT as the champion. And honestly, I hate to say this, and I might get some heat for this, but Hideo Itami was just that filler opponent for Roode until we get to Brooklyn. Like, you can just tell the fact that they weren't in the main event already told you immediately before the match started, yeah, Roode's winning this, because when a match is in the main event, something is expecting to happen, which I know we'll get into much later with the next match. But yeah, Roode with the championship. That was the right decision. It would have made no sense for Hitomi to win. I will say Hitomi did have a very good showing, so yeah. We just roll on, and it's the same old stuff with Bobby Roode. I just hope he improves with his match quality. Again, he has a good entrance. He carries himself well as a character, but in the freaking match, for some reason, he just doesn't strike me as someone who is the champion. But yeah, again, solid NXT Championship match. Just, I would say it's probably the weakest match I thought of the night. Now, it is time for the main event. The NXT Tag Team Title Ladder Match. DIY the challengers taking on the champions, the Authors of Pain, AOP, with Paul Ellering. Holy mother freaking crap. People, you know my love for tag team wrestling. And I'll admit the NXT Tag Team division is not in the best place right now because it's pretty much just AOP, DIY, and Heavy Machinery. But as far as this match, for a ladder match that main evented a takeover for the first time, which, mind you, people, this is only the third ladder match in NXT history that has main evented a takeover. DIY, AOP, thank you for giving me a true tag team classic ladder match. The spots in this match were just absolutely fucking insane. Like the double frog splash with Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were on top of the ladder and landed on AOP, which God bless Gargano because he almost died. And again, shout out to Tommaso Ciampa because remember the night before at a live event, it appeared that he had injured his ankle or his knee, and it turns out it wasn't as bad as people had thought it would be. But yeah, thank God for Tommaso Ciampa, and kudos to that dude for pushing him through if he still is hurt. But yes, this match was just awesome. Yeah, not to mention the spot where AOP both had the ladder and they almost took Gargano's chin right off his damn face. That was insane. And also when one of the AOP, I think it was Akam, who was on the ladder, and he just got German suplexed off of it by Gargano and by Ciampa and into the fucking ladder, squashing it, was also a good spot. Again, this was just an all-around beautiful match until... Oh, real quick before we get to the sad, fantastic ending, though. What a fucking tease by NXT where Gargano and Ciampa nearly grabbing the titles, hanging from the rafters, and then AOP catches out and the double powerbomb spot happens, and Akam and Rezar grab the titles, and Officer Pain retain. Good decision, but what happened after the match was fucking phenomenal. Gargano and Ciampa are heading up the ramp. You think it's gonna happen when they're in the ring, and I so thought they weren't gonna do it because they put up the fucking NXT graphic to end the show, and then as it goes away, Tommaso Ciampa turns heel on Johnny Gargano. I loved this. People, I'm still sweating. And people, I get that a lot of you did not want to see the turn. But I will say for a turn, they pulled it off great. They got the crowd reactions that they wanted. They got the shot. People saw it coming, but it still had that shot value. It was just like, my God. Tommaso Ciampa knee striking Gargano time after time after time. And yes, that is how you close NXT TakeOver Chicago in a great heel turn fashion. Man. And Chicago was of all perfect places to do this because Ciampa got asshole chants. When you get asshole chants and people are not cheering that you turn heel, you're doing your fucking job. The heel turn was pulled off just tremendously by NXT overall. Just some great stuff. But yes, my overall thoughts on NXT TakeOver Chicago. Holy mother freaking crap. Once again, NXT delivers on another TakeOver special. Now again, you don't necessarily need to watch the weekly shows, but I choose to because I love NXT that much. But yes, the way the NXT's roster right now, I saw a lot of development tonight. Roderick Strong getting the way you can continue his momentum. The women's triple threat match I thought was very good, keeping Asuka that strong dominant champion with the story with Ember Moon. You can keep that going. Hideo Itami and Bobby Roode, like I said, it was really more of a filler championship match, but the match was still good nonetheless. Bobby Roode, can't wait to see what he does with the NXT Championship when we get to Brooklyn. And the UK Championship match, which I honestly don't know which was match of the night for me, that ladder match or the UK Championship match, because I'm looking forward to see what the UK division scene is going to look like moving forward. And of course that main event, just that tag team. And again, as a huge fan of tag team wrestling, I'm just so happy to see that tag team wrestling. And thank you, NXT, for giving me a tag team title match that main evented a pay-per-view. So yeah, just good praise overall for NXT TakeOver Chicago. That is it from my end on my NXT TakeOver Chicago review. I will be back with more of these videos, but I'll be recapping the weekly NXT, so be sure to check that out on PWF Empire. It's an exclusive, so be sure you check on the site. I'm DJ Cass, and I will see you around. Later days.